So, when we talk about the landscape, come on in guys. When we talk about painting in the landscape, actually the father of landscape painting we consider to be Claude Lorraine. Lorraine, L-O-R-R-A-I-N-E. And in the 1600s, this is 1665, this is an outdoor sketch that he did in pen, brown wash, which is a like a watercolor ink that he's using, and that this is on paper actually. So you really have like a real complete landscape until you get to this fellow who in 1600 really kind of starts the whole outdoor painting movement. This is Charles Daubigny, D-A-U-B-I-G-N-Y, and in the 1800s, Charles Daubigny really started the outdoor plein air movement. And he was part of what's called the Barbizon School, hundreds who were living in Paris. And Paris was so hot in the summertime, so they went out into the landscape to cool off a couple of hours away into the Fontainebleau forest, and they started painting what they saw. Daubigny, though, had a boat built, and he kind of lived part-time on this boat and would travel along the rivers and paint what he saw. So a lot of the times you'll see these beautiful reflections in rivers and so forth, and this is because of his actual boat that he used to paint on. Here he is in his boat, and you can see all of the details of his work here. He is sitting and working, and some of his canvases, some of his cooking utensils and so forth. And this is what, you know, the view that he saw and the view that he sketched. So someone else is sketching him. And this is probably a pen and ink drawing. A contemporary of Daubigny, Corot. Here he is, painter at work in the Forest of Fontainebleau, and that was the very famous forest that they painted in. They would go outside of Paris a couple of hours, as I mentioned, and you can see here the painter at work and all of the beautiful scenery around him. So for them, it was like the Catskills were to New Yorkers, New York City people coming out into the Catskills to get away from the heat and enjoy themselves. So this is another piece by Corot, Souvenir of Mort Fontaine, which is Fontainebleau Forest, 1864. I just wanted to show you this because Corot is really, really well known for these shimmering leaves, almost like the aspen. What do you call the aspen trees with those shimmering leaves? But he was very well known for painting those, and this is a great example of that. So if we come back over to America, we have Thomas Cole. Now Thomas Cole was an artist who really was very well known for doing these glorious sort of paintings of returning warriors from fights and gladiators, you know, in costume and so forth. And somehow or another he wound up coming up here. He was one of literally the first people to come up into the Catskills from his studio in New York City and actually start painting up here. But he really considered it sort of like beneath him to do it, like it really wasn't something that he felt proud of. And he considered it like leaf painting, lowly leaf painting. So he kind of started the movement by accident by just coming up here and having a little vacation and painting. But here you see him depicting the Catskill Mountain House, which is here. This is at North and South Lake. If you ever get a chance to go up from Catskill on Route 23A, you'll see the sign that's there because the thing actually burned down. But this is the Delaware. And he's using oil paints. This is also Thomas Cole, Sunny Morning on the Hudson. Sunny Morning on the Hudson, and you can see, I said Delaware before I meant Hudson. This is the Hudson River, and at some point in his career he decided that landscape painting was working for him because he started selling them. A collector got very interested in his landscape paintings. He started selling them, and he thought, oh, this is great, this is money, and I can sell these paintings. And so then he moved up here from New York City. He moved up here to Catskill, and if you ever go up to Catskill, look up the Cole House, which is a national landmark now. And you can see his studio. One of Church's Cole students, Frederick Church, started painting with coal. And in those days, you really didn't have a school to go to. You had to find a master that you could work with and really study under that person. So Church started working with coal, and but Church was very different from Cole, even though he kind of emulated his style in the very beginning, very detailed and naturalistic. Eventually, Frederick Church developed this sort of free more expressive style, especially in his smaller pieces. This is called Olana in the Clouds, and here's Olana. Church knew he wanted to be a landscape painter from the get-go, and he moved right up here to across the Hudson from his teacher, and he had founded Olana and built his estate there, and you can see it to this day. If you ever want to go up to Hudson, you can check out Olana and see Frederick Church's artwork there, how he named it and why. But one of the things that Church, he started making a lot of money, so he went overseas, and he went especially to South America, and he did this grand, huge painting called The Heart of the Andes in 1859. This is 66 inches high by 119 inches across. Here you have this gorgeous waterfall. If you look closely, you'll see these incredible details in the ferns and the leaves and the flowers, and then you have these majestic mountains behind it. So this created a big sensation. There was a lot of people who came to see the painting, and 12,000 people paid 25 cents each to file buy it each month. So that's pretty incredible, 25 cents each to file buy it, 12,000 people, you get the picture.